Krishna. We want to offer our welcome to Srini Tai and family coming all the way from, originally from Ghana, and then all the way to Florida. And then they've made their trip all the way to Dallas. We also want to welcome all the thousands of guests that have come from all over North America and the world to attend the National Conference of Sadhu Sangha in Allen, Texas. So if anybody's listening in, please accept our most humble, heartfelt, and loving obeisances. And please know that we're your servants here at Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji Dham. And we're looking forward to loving cooperation with the new temple coming up in Plano. We're all excited and we want to be there to serve as the North Texas devotees have served for so many years. We want to be there for you. So we're very excited. Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji is excited. And today we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, Punishment and Reward of Kali. And the verse today is verse 43. First we'll chant the Jaya Radha Madhava very, very briefly. I have to give a short class because I have some service. So we'll be ending the class no later than 8:15. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jabihar Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gaur Pemanandi Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Gyana Timurandasya Gina Gina Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. You chant with me if you know it. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dinat Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta namostute, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye, Vanchakoppa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Tamal Krishna Goswami Tinamine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Ratatvaja Swamini Tinamine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prajarine Nirvishesha Sinyavadi Paskata Deshadarine. So there's a verse here in the preface. Tadvar Vishargo Janatagna Viplavo Yasmin Pratishlokam Abadhavati Api Namani Anantasya Yaso Nikatani Yach Chinvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadava. This is Srila Prabhupada quoting Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.11. He says, right before this verse, I am hopeful of its good reception by thinkers and leaders of society on the strength of the following statement of Srimad Bhagavatam. Translation, on the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form, and pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a transcendental creation meant for bringing about a revolution in the impious life of a misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literature, even though irregularly composed, is heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Om Tat Sat, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Today's verse I'll read, and if you want to follow on your phone, we don't have the verse on the board today. So this is text 43, actually 43 and 44. Sahe Shaitarhyad Adyasta Ashanam Partavochitam Pitamahena Bhanyastam Ragnaranya Vivikshata Ashte Duna Sarajashi Kordavendra Shilolasan Gajavaye Mahabhagas Chakravarti Bahatshara. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The most fortunate emperor, Maharaj Parikshit, who was entrusted with the kingdom of Hastinapur by Maharaj Yudhisthira when he desired to retire to the forest, is now ruling the world with great success, due to his being glorified by the deeds of the kings of the Kuru dynasty. So this is Shukadeva Goswami describing to Maharaj Parikshit the glorious pastimes here. Actually, it's Sutta Goswami describing to the sages of Naimisharanya, quoting Shukadeva Goswami. So he's describing how Maharaj Parikshit, who it says the most fortunate emperor, Maharaj Parikshit, who's entrusted with the kingdom of Hastinapur by Maharaj Yudhisthira when he desired to retire to the forest, is now ruling the world with great success due to his being glorified by the deeds of the kings of the Kuru dynasty. Sorry, I'm going to read the translation one more time. It's so beautiful. Safe journey. Okay, we'll see you soon. The most fortunate Emperor Maharaj Parikshit, who was entrusted with the kingdom of Hastinapur by Maharaj Yudhisthira, when he desired to retire to the forest, is now ruling the world with great success due to his being glorified by the deeds of the kings of the Kuru dynasty. Purport. The prolonged sacrificial ceremonies undertaken by the sages of Naimisharanya were begun shortly after the demise of Maharaj Parikshit. The sacrifice was to continue for 1,000 years, and it is understood that in the beginning, some of the contemporaries of Baladev, the elder brother of Lord Krishna, also visited the sacrificial place. According to some authorities, the present tense is also used to indicate the nearest margin of time from the past. In that sense, the present tense is applied to the reign of Maharaj Parikshit here. For a continuous fact, also present tense for a continuous fact also, present tense can be used. The principles of Maharaj Parikshit can be still continued, and human society can still be improved if there is determination by the authorities. We can still purge out from the state all the activities of immorality introduced by the personality of Kali if we are determined to take action like Maharaj Parikshit. He allotted some place for Kali, but in fact, Kali could not find such places in the world at all, because Maharaj Parikshit was strictly vigilant to see that there was no places for gambling, drinking, prostitution, and animal slaughter. Modern administrators want to banish corruption from the state, but fools as they are, they do not know how to do it. They want to issue licenses for gambling houses, wine and other intoxicating drug houses, brothels, hotel prostitution, and cinema houses, and falsity in every dealing, even in their own. And they want at the same time to drive out corruption from the state. They want the kingdom of God without God consciousness. How can it be possible to adjust two contradictory matters? If we want to drive out corruption from the state, we must first of all organize society to accept the principles of religion, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. And to make the condition favorable, we must close all places of gambling, drinking, prostitution, and falsity. These are some of the practical lessons from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Srila Gurudev, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So the timeline here is that 5,000 years ago, approximately, give or take, maybe, I don't know how many years, if you look at it in cosmic time. So if we're going according to universal time, and if you understand, a glimpse of universal time, which is me, I just have a tiny, tiny, tiny glimpse. I don't know. I can't, my brain is very limited, but what I understand is that if you're talking in terms of 5,000 plus years ago, that's like 2 days ago. And if you're talking about 500 years ago, that was just a few hours ago in cosmic time. So technically, Lord Krishna was on this planet and is now on this planet in the form of the Sankirtan Yajna. But Vani Vapu, so they're both important. His actual Vapu was here just a couple days ago in universal time. And as far as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, he was here just a few hours ago. So we're actually, it's very relative because we're very tiny, tiny, tiny. We're so tiny, tiny, tiny. Sri Krishna is Vibhu and we are Anu. So Anu. Super Anu. As it's just always sweet to meet somebody with the name Anu Radha or Anutama. These are all wonderful names because they remind us of how tiny we are and how helpless we are. And we have to remember that verse, Daivihe Shagunamayi, Mama Maya Dharatyaya, Mameviye Prapadyante, Maimitam Tarantite. Jai Mother Jayashri. Hare Krishna. Good morning. So, this divine energy of mind consisting, Krishna is telling Shri Arjuna, this divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is very difficult to overcome. Dharatyaya. But one who surrenders unto me can easily cross beyond. And so, just like Srila Prabhupada is saying in the preface of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that the Srimad Bhagavatam can correct the lives of a misdirected civilization if we want it. And if we realize that this is what we want, kind of like going to a store, you're either going to purchase a diamond or you're going to purchase a piece of glass or plastic, which is the case now, is that everything is metal and plastic merged, or it's just very cheap material. Rhinestones, nothing real. Yet when it touches the body of the Lord, it becomes most valuable. So every year, Janmashtami, we have a big auction because sometimes the jewelry gets worn out. And they'll hold it up, and it's a beautiful sparkling bracelet, and Srimati Radharani has worn it hundreds of times, and Sri Krishna, his sparkling bracelets, he's worn hundreds of times. And we have these wonderful members of our community in Plano, Frisco, all over the North Dallas area, all over the Kalachandji Dham, within the half mile of the temple, that have paid thousands of dollars to support the temple and support to keep the lights on and keep everything running. So we're eternally in debt to these great souls that give and continue to give. So I guess what the point is that, I'm sorry, I'm digressing, but even though a jewelry might be fake, when it touches Krishna's body, it's real. Haribol, Mother Padma. Good morning. So it says here, now this is revolutionary. Srila Prabhupada actually, the movement, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, or for Krishna Consciousness, right? Some people say for the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Let's see what the front of the book says. Founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This is otherwise known as the Hare Krishna movement, meant to be a movement, which is in fact a revolution. It's a small revolution because if you think about the population of the earth right now, compared to the ratio of how many devotees there are. Even if we have a few million in India, it's actually very small. But big things start very little. If you remember the story of the cobbler and the Brahmana, the cobbler was doing his work one day, and he was working very nicely, and Narada Muni was making a tour, and he went to go see the Brahmana first, and the Brahmana was doing his oblations, his puja, and then he greeted Narada and Muni and offered his obeisances and said, "Oh dear Narada Muni, where are you going?" And he said, "I'm going to Vaikuntha. I'm going to go see the Supreme Lord." And the Brahmana said, "Oh, how nice. Would you ask him when I'll be going back to Godhead, when I'll meet him in his transcendental realm?" And that, they parted ways. Yes, Narada said, "Yes, I'll ask." Then he went to the cobbler. He saw the cobbler and he saw how hard he was working, but immediately the cobbler put down everything and offered full dandavats, like a rod, before Narada, and bathed his feet and offered him what he had. And, "Dear Narada, how can I serve you? May I know what your journey? What is your mission?" He said, "Well, I'm actually on my way to Vaikuntha. I'm going to the Supreme Lord's abode, and technically Narada can go to Goloka, not just Vaikuntha, but he can go to both. But he said, I'm going to Vaikuntha. Oh, please offer my most humble obeisances to Sri Narayan, to Lord Narayan, and please, please let me know what he's doing when you see him, and when will I go back to him? I would love to know, because I miss my Lord so much." And so Narada, "Yes, of course I'll tell you." So he went, and then Narada came before the Supreme Lord, who greeted him, washed his feet, put him on a nice asana, served him. Lord Shri Krishna is always setting the example of serving the pure devotees. He's always serving the pure devotees and showing us how to do that. So after serving Naradaji, Shri Narada said, I met a Brahmana and a cobbler, dear Lord, and they're both curious about their duration of life. One is offering pujas every day and oblations and so busy, but they both want to know how long they'll stay. The cobbler is so humble and always, offering full dandavats if he sees me. And so Sri Krishna said, "Yes, tell the Brahmana what I'm doing when you see him. Tell him I'm threading an elephant through the eye of a needle." And check their response. And then you'll know what to tell them. You'll know their duration, how long they'll be there. And so he went back. Thank you, Lord. Yes. And then so he went back and he saw the Brahmana. And yes, Narada, what did he say? And he said, no. He said, he wanted me to tell you what he was doing. And he said, oh yes, okay, so what was the Lord doing? He was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. Oh, that's impossible. No one can do that. Not even God. Narada said, you won't be going back to Godhead anytime soon. And he was, of course, very angry and very rude to Narada, and so Narada just left that place right away. He came in front of the cobbler, and the cobbler served him very nicely, greeted him. How was your journey? How is the Lord? And yes, what was the Lord doing when you saw him? Yes, dear cobbler, he was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. Well, how's that possible? Right? Is that what you're going to say, cobbler? Oh no, there's nothing my Lord can't do. My Lord can do anything. Really? Narada said, are you sure? And he said, yes, of course. And he said, now how do you know all that? Well, Naradaji, dear Sri Narada, he puts a banyan tree and a tiny seed. Is it not? Is that not threading an elephant through the eye of a needle? And Narada said, yes, your duration of life is over now, and you will be going back to Godhead. And just then, a Vaikuntha airship appeared, and they embraced the cobbler and brought him on board and took him back to the spiritual world with all the demigods showering flowers at the same time. As the plane ascended in the air, showers and showers of flowers, unending, just on and on and on. And so the point is that the Lord can do anything. So even with a tiny band of devotees, it's tiny, right? Right? So that's like the needle. And what is this misdirected civilization? It's like the elephant. And so we can, by the grace of Guru and Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, and the pure devotees, Srila Prabhupada and his representatives, representing the Guru Parampara as nicely as they do, that is threading the elephant through the eye of a needle. And that's the revolution that Srila Prabhupada has brought. And it's not for the timid, because you're going to have some people that are really, like just yesterday I had a boy, he was just so angry and so blasphemous. But I just tolerated him because I used to babysit him. And I said, okay, let's see how things work out for you. And so each time I see him surrendering more and more. He's coming and crying before Krishna more and more. He's crying before Prabhupada more and more. And so we left on very good note. He's going to take shelter of Prabhupada. And that's my recommendation. If you're angry, if you're disillusioned, if you have a million doubts or one doubt, take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. How do you take shelter of Srila Prabhupada? Reading his books. There's a little thing we can do every day, 5 minutes. It's called Bhagavad Gita break. You take a break and you read 2 verses and purports out loud. It takes 5 minutes. Of course, depending on the purport, then you can read 2 pages of the purport and 1 verse. But the point is, read Srila Prabhupada's books. Even if you have 0 doubts, even if you're completely convinced, read Srila Prabhupada's books. Don't forget, read Srila Prabhupada's books. It's so important. And without that, books are the basis. I know this saying is not really technically attributed to Srila Prabhupada saying it directly, but purity is the force, preaching is the essence, utility is the principle, and books are the basis. Srila Prabhupada heard it, and he nodded. He said, yes, good. He didn't, that's my quote, or he would never do that anyway, but he accepted it. He said, yes, that's proper. He accepted that. So that's our formula for this revolution. Any questions or comments before you guys head out to Alan? Thanks for visiting. What is your name? Yashoda Gopi Ki Jai. And who's your Guru Dev? Radhanath Maharaj Ki Jai. Oh, Lokanath Maharaj Ki Jai. Oh, he's our bullock cart Acharya. That's right. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, very attached to Lokanath Maharaj. My Gurudev, very attached. And your name, your good name? Mahesh Prabhu. Lokanath Maharaj also?
Not yet.
Okay, working on it. You please offer our full dandavats to the lotus feet of Sri Lokanath Maharaj. Gurudev is so keen on him, and he personifies the enthusiasm of serving Krishna, and simple and pure and straightforward. And he takes the fallen devotees and he picks them up. He lifts them up to Srila Prabhupada. And to me, he personifies all the Kripalu, the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And, we have a tough time in our society sometimes. There's, sometimes when somebody takes a lot of responsibility, there's a firing squad that just kind of goes around shooting down whoever is trying to be responsible and take charge and help. So the firing squad is getting better about it. They're realizing it's not how you run the race, it's how you finish. So hang in there. It's not how you run the race, it's how you finish. My name's Kunti. I'm Tamal Krishna Maharaj, she's Kunti. I knew Mother Kunti, Srila Prabhupada's mother of, Yes. Yes, yeah. She used to be known, what's her name now? Did she get initiated? This is Mother Kunti's daughter. I was just saying her name today. Oh my gosh. Anyway, an amazing Kirtaniya. She's amazing. She's so strong and just loving like her mother. But her mother was here, and on tiny plot of property, I'll show you how big it was. Do you see the back half of the temple room? Just the back section? She planted marigolds, and for years did this here in Dallas. We didn't have to order any flowers. She did this every year in the flower growing season, and we stopped the flower order. That's how big it was. Yeah. Mother Kunti, yeah. She died of cancer in 1992, 93, somewhere around there. Very close to Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And 10 years later, Tamal Krishna Maharaj had a heart attack. Everybody thinks he died in the car accident. The medical report, you should read this medical report. It is amazing. So the medical report shows that Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami, about 5 to 6 minutes into his journey, because the physicians in India are very thorough. They took the blood sample, they saw the direction the blood was moving. He had had a heart attack about 5 to 6 minutes into the ride, because the surviving devotees who saw him in the back, they reported that he slumped.
It's probably because of...
He slumped in the chair and had seemingly, they thought, went to sleep. The doctors said no, he had passed away. So by the time the car hit the tree, which was about 2 minutes later, he was already gone. Which is why the body had no bruise, not one bruise on the body. Not one. No bruise, no cut, no abrasion, nothing. His body was completely intact. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was in Houston, yeah. So you've lived in Houston?
No, my brother-in-law lives in 900
Okay. Yashoda Mata. Say your name. Yashoda Gopi Kijai. And Mahesh Kijai. All right, so you're headed to Allen?
We came from the Sadhu Sangha.
Okay, are you going back right now? Do you want a little breakfast before you head back?
Thank you, Mata. Give me 2 little fruit and we will
Do you want some Maha sweets?
9 o'clock program will start.
Okay.
Haribol.
Okay. I'll let you run.
Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Yashoda Kripa. How you've already got luck enough.
One question though.
Sure. What is your question?
Regarding cosmic time, you say, right?
Yes, cosmic time.
So each and every animal having a different timing world, like
Isn't it
some
amazing?
bacteria is like few hours.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I know.
It's so amazing that we think
Like a Lord Brahma having a millions of years.
we think we're going to be here forever. We're not. It's so
And
so
I heard
short.
from scientific that it's now in black hole theory.
The black hole theory is huge. It's huge. Are you gonna? Or do you have science background? Are you degreed?
Yes, Mataji, I am in master of
Engineering?
chemistry.
Huh?
Chemistry.
Chemical engineering or chemical? Just chemistry.
Yes, chemistry.
Well, you're in Srila Prabhupada's lineage. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's chemist also.
Right.
Yeah, we need all degrees on deck because they're opening the TOVP. So if you have any time,
I know.
if you want to contribute,
That's amazing world he created.
yeah, well, I pray to Krishna, they'll grab you, Mahesh Prabhu. Are you going to India anytime soon?
Uh,
So we go every year.
every year for
And you're stationed in Houston?
No, we live in New Jersey.
You live? I know you said that. I'm sorry. Parsippany. Parsippany? Parsippany. Jagannath deities are huge there. They come for New York Roth.
That's right.
They conquer New York every year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I pray you get rest. You have a safe journey. And we'll see you at Sadhu Sangha.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji ki jai.
Gurudev blessing, Prabhupada blessing, if I have any. You got. Haribol. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.